Hey, what's up, everyone? Sachi Travis Joe. I wanted to talk about Palo because I said I would, first of all, and second of all, a question came up, and I figured that this would be a good time to answer the question. Or well, I like their damage art actually; it's nice. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted. So someone asked me, when they were inheriting something, how come they only had new moon? So this is important to note. Moonbow is a 4-star only skill, like in general. So if you have a unit with Moonbow, the other one being Odin and Ephraim, well, Ephraim doesn't count, but Odin, even Odin won't be able to give Moonbow unless he's a 4-star unit. So that's all I wanted to say. You just gotta keep that in mind. Which is why I prefer 4-star units to inherit. Like, if it's not the active skill, it's the passive skill. You can get. Usually you can get a set of passive skills. That's you know how like it's 1, 2, and 3. The third one of them at least is gonna be full as a 4-star units. When you're inheriting. This is for efficiency's sake, right? But for Moonbow, it's more for necessity's sake. So we're gonna start off with looking at Pala right off the bat. I'll talk to her build that she's given, and then we'll talk about. Well, I'll talk about her inheritability potential, and if you want to, it builds for her, I suppose. So, when you look at her right off the bat, she has decent HP, but other than that, she's pretty much a jack of all trades. All her stats are pretty close to each other, and you do get a neutral one, so that's fine. I would argue either minus resistance plus attack or plus speed is the optimal one, but that's just me. But she does have good. I wouldn't say tank. She has some wall potential, but not a lot, because she has a good speed, so she won't be doubled often, and her attack is okay. It's not exactly the highest, but it's not exactly low. So, come on. So I'll talk about Palace still. The set that she comes with, the Ruby Sword, I actually comes a little bit clutch sometimes, especially when you're trying to do those stupid arena quests and you have all flying units and stuff. When I had to tank Hector hits, I usually use her. So I have a 4-star one. So she comes with a Ruby Sword, which is not very strong, but it makes her a decent unit to tank green hits, especially Nino. Oh, she's annoying. She can usually take a couple of hits from Nino and then have her Moonbow active, or Hector's actually units in general. So that's her build. The way they built her, she's okay defensively. So she's kind of, with the Ruby Sword, she kind of tanks hits. She's more of a wall, and the Moonbow helps her dish out some more damage. And that's pretty much it. She's a support unit. She's mainly a support unit. With the build they gave her, she's more of a support unit. So Wings of Mercy enables unit to warp adjacent to any ally with H. Usually when you have mage users who get hit by another mage or a bow user, they can have low HP, and then you just use her to kill them off. So that's what Wings of she's okay with Wings of Mercy, but Frederick uses it better because he's stronger. He's just a stronger unit. But that's my opinion, right? I'd love to know yours, so please let me know. And she has gold flyers, which is a good support unit for flyer quest. Oh gosh, was so important for the flyer quest for the training stratum event. Anyways, that's pretty much everything. She's more of a supportive wall unit. That's the way they built her. Wings of Mercy, gold flyers. They gave her Moonbow to help with her low damage output, and a Ruby Sword. So she's good against green units. In terms of inheritability, the only thing really that I think, in my personal opinion, is worth inheriting is the Moonbow and New Moon. In my opinion, Moonbow is the most coveted skill for me because it's such a low cooldown and it's a nice. It's kind of a little bit underrated in the sense that you don't really know how much more damage you're doing because of Mumbo. So say a unit have 40 defense. You take out 30%, that's 12 off. That's 28 defense. That's a huge chunk. Like that's not as daunting as 40, and if anything that's a lot better. So, I just want people to keep that in mind when they're thinking about inherits. Like that's the reason why I like talking about Mumbo and using Mumbo. But other than that, I mean, Wings of Mercy gives good surprise factors, especially on units like Kaguro or healers. With Wings of Mercy, rehabilitate healers with rehabilitate or Kagero's, ranged units. It's not really. I don't think it's really that good on melee units, but on ranged units, it's pretty good. Like it's a good surprise factor. That's what it is. It's a good support skill. So just want to put it out there, right? Like I don't think it's a terrible skill by any means. It surprises me all the time. I once faced a Takumi with Wings of Mercy, and that threw me off. That actually threw me. I didn't know how to beat him, because I usually plan for that, but because I was like, oh look, the units are just taking random hits. And then that Takumi comes on the Wings of Mercy, and there's a unit in front of him, and that Takumi killed my range units. It's really annoying. It does get annoying. So yeah, just personal story, but that's a source. That's a surprise factor. This is not really useful unless you have like the gold flyers. I guess for speed you can use it a little bit. It's decent support. But when you have a wall, you would want Palo to tank a hit or two. So the spur speed is really like it's a little bit questionable to me, because Hoenn would be better, because Palo would be taking the hits, right? She's not in the back supporting another unit. And Go Flyers is only for flying teams, right? So that also you have to take into account for us when you're doing these kinds of things. So inheritability is not very high, in a certain sense, but the skill she does give is excellent. Like one of the best skills to inherit. In terms of build, when you look at her stats, you kind of just want her to take hits and dish out as much damage as possible. She's kind of like a sacrificial unit in the sense that you let her take hits, she dishes out damage, and you have all your other units just getting ready to ambush everyone. Or she can come through in the pinch. So probably an A slot that's a little underrated, that could help with her survivability, which I wouldn't recommend, but I might want to talk about it anyway, is Bacalus' EO Shield. So that allows Palla to take Excalibur hits better, and and bow users better, right? Because her defense is decent. You want to keep the Mumbo's fine, right? Just keep that. Like the Ruby Sword, it has its uses, right? But you could give her Silver Sword. I'm only gonna use Zephyr as an example. I wouldn't recommend it. You can give Silver Sword so she can dish out more damage, or she doesn't take as much damage from light, like Lance or blue units. You could give her Killing Edge. Have Mumbo on a 1-turn cooldown. That's always a good thing. So, where are my first? What happened to them? I had a lot. Oh, here, yeah. So Fur can give Killing Edge. I unequipped it to check her IVs. You can have Killing Edge, and that works wonders with Mumbo. That's really good with Mumbo. In terms of skills, like a support skill, you could give her a Rally. That would be really good. But I think a really underrated one would be Reposition with Palla, because Reposition is good on units that you want to tank hits with. So, say you use a unit to attack another unit, the unit will reposition that behind you, so that unit may not be able to attack. Say you're attacking Zephyr, right? You attack Zephyr, and then the reposition allows that unit who attacks Zephyr to be protected by, that unit that used it. So Palla, it's pretty underrated as a skill. It's one of my favorite skills. It is one of the most annoying skills I've ever faced. So yeah, in terms of support skill, that's what I would give her. A slot, I told you EO shield, and then you usually could do either threaten. Sorry, no, I'm going too far. You could give her death blow. You could definitely give her Fury. I'd argue Fury 2 is better than Fury 3, but that's my opinion, obviously. Um, you can give her a Defiant skill. Defiant attack works. Defiant speed works. But you can also give her either the defenses. Like it's really depends on the IVs and what you want her to do. But I prefer Defiant attack, right? Um, you can give her Fortress. Can be a decent user of it. If you're gonna give her Fortress though, then her active skill has to be something like Ignis or Bonfire, one of those units, because she does considerably less damage output. Um, and then the damage output is really relying on the active skill. You could give her Vengeance too because of that, or Retribution, Reprisal. I prefer Vengeance myself. On the turn cooldown, it's not too bad. That's really everything in my personal opinion that as A slot potentials. But I would definitely think about Death Blow. But Darting Blow is also underrated. Like don't count Darting Blow out. Her 31 speed is not too bad. She can outspeed a lot of units after a certain speed. But I'll get to that in a second. B slot. I will give her a breaker so she can double because she's not gonna double a lot, but she won't be doubled. So, Sword Breaker is definitely the one to give her. I will definitely give her a Sword Breaker. You can get that from Sully, Kane. But you can give her Tome Breakers as well, so she can double mage units, because she has a hard time doing that too, and it can get really annoying. You can give her Bow Breaker as well. But probably the best skill to give her is I would probably say Quick Riposte is probably one of the better skills to give her. So she always has a chance to, depending on her HP, to double. That's everything. That's really everything I had to say about B slots. There's really not much else. Lunge is underrated. So is Poison Strike, but I would definitely pick Breaker first. And then her C slot, I would argue Threaten Defense. So you combo Threaten Defense with Death Blow, right? But since she has decent speed, you could combo Desperation, B slot, with the Darting Blow, A slot, and a C slot of Threaten Speed. Since she's okay speed. If you have a plus speed Palla, that's what I would do, right? She should be able to do decent damage, especially if you have Desperation with a Killing Edge, and you have something like Bonfire or Moonbow or Reprisal or something. That's not a bad combo. That's not too bad if I do say so myself, right? But that's just an idea I want to have people think about. But C slots definitely threaten because she's going to be tanking hits. Definitely a threaten, not so much like a hone, but a threaten skill. So threaten defense, threaten speed, threaten attack, work. I would probably rank threaten defense the highest, and second threaten speed. If you want to invest in her so much because you love her, I would argue the better set is the Killing Edge with the Bonfire or some skill like that. You could even do Growing Wind or Iceberg. You could do Iceberg. Because that's on a 3-turn cooldown, 2-turn cooldown with a killer weapon, and then you can give her a Killing Edge, and then you give her Darting Blow, Desperation, and Speed. So that's not bad. I'm not writing that off. I think that's a good potential for Palla. So, yeah, I think that's everything really. There's really not much. There's really no more I want to talk about. Thank you for watching, and later days.